My experience is that with many leaders, one of the most misunderstood topics around the topic of leadership is motivation. And this was clarified for me. I remember when I first saw a TED Talk that was done by the best-selling author Daniel Pink, based on a book that he wrote called Drive, which is a great book on motivation. And he found that motivation is one of the most misunderstood topics. Science understands it, but for some reason we misunderstand motivation as it relates to business. And what he found is he did a ton of research for this book, and he found we tend to think that money, external motivation, is what is one of the great motivators of people, and what science has found is the exact opposite. That money tends to narrow our focus. So on some very easy types of projects or tasks, money might be a motivator, something that we do repetitively. But in most cases, money actually has a negative effect on performance, on a motivation. His research is that there are three most important intrinsic motivators, and those are autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Autonomy, allowing employees to work independently as much as possible without being micromanaged, giving them space to do their job, and then when they need help, providing that help support, but allowing them to work in an autonomous fashion as much as possible. Saw a statistic recently that said that 10% of workers say they do their best thinking at work, and 39% said they do their best thinking at home when they're working in a more autonomous working position. So this, I know, has led to a lot of discussions around people working either remotely or hybrid. I think the better, as it relates to this idea of autonomy, is allowing flexibility for employees. Allow employees to decide on their own how they're going to work best. So autonomy, number one, in terms of motivation, intrinsic motivation. Number two is mastery, allowing employees to grow, allowing employees to get better at whatever they want to get better at, to play to their strengths, something we talked about earlier, but allowing them to improve, to grow in whatever ways they want to, mastery. And then the third intrinsic motivator is purpose. And we've already talked about this before, just earlier, around one of the 12 questions was helping employees understand the mission, the purpose of their work. So this is, again, the science tells us as an intrinsic motivator, allowing employees to do purposeful work, meaningful work, is highly motivating. And sometimes, again, we have to help employees understand the purpose or meaning of their work, help them connect the dots on that. What we also know, very important in this study of motivation, is that before we can motivate employees, or before employees can be motivated, we have to help eliminate or reduce the demotivators. There's certain things that will demotivate employees, one of which could be compensation. If I'm an employee and I don't feel like I'm being compensated fairly or as much as I should, it's going to be very hard to motivate me, even with the autonomy and the mastery and the purpose, if I'm feeling demotivated. Other factors that might demotivate an employee could be their workspace. If it's too hot, it's too cold, chair's not comfortable. Those are all factors that could demotivate an employee. So we have to eliminate the demotivators first, and then ask ourselves, okay, how can I help motivate or improve the motivation of my employees? How are you helping your employees become more motivated today? I would strongly suggest that you watch the TED Talk by Daniel Pink on this topic.